warm day. That's right, you're Canadian. I forgot. You're looking for the warm sunshine all the time.
I do enjoy it. Whenever it's around, I'm like a gecko. I'll just be out there on a rock absorbing as much as I can.
Well, let's absorb the next match, and this is the mixed team gold medal match. Should be a good one, Russia and Mexico. You see the Russian team coming out. They qualified second this week. Russia conquering Spain in the 1/8 round. Took care of Germany in the quarterfinals, beat Belarus in the semifinals. And this will be Russia's first World Cup medal in mixed team competition, believe it or not. On your left, Tatiana Segana, and on your right, Bair Zvektorjiev.
I guarantee I will stumble over Bair's last name if I try, so I will probably just stick to calling him Bair all day.
Bair is fine. He answers to that. So Tatiana Segana, 22 years old, and Zvektorjiev, who competed this morning in men's team competition, came up a little bit short in the bronze medal match, hoping to rectify that here in the gold medal match, and he will get a medal one way or the other. Just a matter of the color of that medal. Mexico will have a lot to say about that. The Mexican side beating Poland in a shoot-off this week, then knocking off North Korea in the quarterfinals before beating India in the semis by the count of 5-2-3.
Yep, this is going to be a good match. It could go either way. I think I've got to give a slight edge to Mexico. Aida Roman in particular is exceptionally experienced in mixed team events. Velez here, quite an experienced archer, has been to a couple of Olympics. He's quite familiar with the stage. We were talking a little bit over lunch, just sort of wondering whether or not the Mexicans had chosen Velez here for the mixed team because they'd chosen the other three men for their men's team. If that was a strategy or just a choice, or we never really did go and look at the numbers and see whether or not he just walked onto this team or whether there was a choice, whether there was a switch made. It's just an interesting thing that we thought what showed up. Not really sure why this team is what it is. Aida Roman, obviously, she's one of the strongest shooters Mexico has on the women's side.
You were mentioning the Olympics. Velez's grandfather competed in the Munich Olympics, and then 40 years later, his grandson, Luis Eduardo, was on the team that reached the bronze medal match against South Korea in London 2 years ago. And here he is in Wroclaw, Poland, leading off for Mexico.
Ooh, a little shaky there.
Yeah, you can see the elbow.
Pulled it off, though. Managed to pull out a 9. Yeah, there's a little bit of a twitch here and there. But he's got Aida is a nice solid anchor. She'll be calm and cool as a cucumber under this kind of pressure.
Roman.
There she is. Great execution.
Well done by Aida Roman, who also picked up a medal this morning in the women's gold medal match, picking up a silver medal. Now looking for gold. And here's Bair Zvektorjiev, high on the 8 side.
So it looks like this afternoon this field is shooting a little bit shorter. In fact, there's been a lot of high arrows in the first bit, the first couple of matches.
Segana now.
Really nice, smooth execution, but it's the shot looked very, very well executed.
22 years old, and the new European champion, shooting a 7 on her first shot.
That gives Mexico a 3-point buffer to work with. A pair of 9s is good enough to win this set.
And Velez with a 9. So 3 straight 9s.
He's okay. As long as they keep with the lead, I think he'll be okay, but I'm a little... He appears to be a little bit on the shaky, a little bit on the nervous side. Maybe it's just the first set. Maybe he'll settle down.
Oh, Aida solid.
Yep, very, very calm. And that's 2 points for Mexico.
Sticks the 10, 37. They can't be caught in this set.
Which is a great opportunity, as I always say, for Russia to get a couple of just calming arrows down. That's an interesting little fidget he's got going on. When he comes up to set up, I'm not sure what he's doing with his thumb and his pinky finger, but there seems to be a little bit of a fidget. If we get that angle again.
I should only fidget that well.
Oh, it's probably just one of the routine pieces that he does to settle in. To
part of
make
his
sure.
routine, yeah.
Absolutely.
And Seguinus low with that shot. So the two first shots for Seguinus a little bit shaky, and the first set goes to Mexico as they grab a 2-0 advantage in this match.
That can vanish very, very quickly.
Question for you, Hugh. We discussed this yesterday. It was a point brought up by Piero Julien Deloche this past week about the X10s and whether they should have greater value than just your average, ordinary 10.
Interesting.
Although,
So
I guess all 10s are beautiful.
And by X10, so just to clarify for the archers
Right.
out there, an X10 is a type of an arrow as well, and that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about the 10s that are in the smaller circle in the middle, which are X's.
Right.
Okay.
Should that carry greater value, greater weight?
So possibly score an 11?
11, perhaps.
In a match like this, unless it is decided that it scores an 11, I would say it shouldn't carry greater value. Because one of the things they do, the whole point of this shoot-off idea is that you've chosen a zone and everything within there is good enough. That's classified as good enough. And for more or less, it's equal. Now the X is it's a flashy 10, but it's still in that 10 zone. And that's why to decide who's in the top 8 and to decide who makes the cut, if there's a tie for, I believe it's just raw score, they don't even go to 10s and X's, then there's a shoot-off. And that shoot-off is to demonstrate the skill of the athlete. That's what's more important. So, provided you're deciding that 10 ring is as high as it goes, 10 is as high as you can score. Now, if you choose that X ring scores an 11, that's a whole different kettle of fish. And that changes the world records, the nature of the game, the whole bit. If you're going to do that, you might as well just reduce the size of the target, and that makes the 10 ring a little bit smaller.
Interesting points from Hugh McDonald, Canadian recurve archer, joining us here on Archery TV for this afternoon's mixed team and individual matches in Wroclaw, Poland.
Nice X. Now, I bet Mexico at this point would wish that would score an 11, because that would have them tied.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, my, what a Merry Christmas we'd all have. 1 point advantage for Russia after the first 2 shots.
So we'll see how they carry it through.
Bektorjev lost out on that team bronze medal this morning here at stage 4, trying to pick up a gold medal.
Another 9, that's good and solid. One interesting thing, Tatiana here, the make of her string is known as a Flemish twist. You can see the little fuzzy burr up near the top limb. Ooh, another 10, very nicely done.
She's caught fire.
It's a slightly different style of how you make the string. It's a little bit of a softer construction. Most of these strings are what's done in what's called a continuous loop. And they're a little bit of a harsher string. The Flemish twist sort of holds itself together. My goodness. Look at the tremble there. Yeah, that's trouble. I wonder what's going on there.
Velez fighting that shot right there.
He looks like he's really having trouble. So that's 2 points to the Russians. But just, an interesting piece of trivia there on the construction of Seguinus' string. Another nice solid 9.
So a 4-point victory in that set for the Russian side. And it ties the match up at 2-2.
2 set points apiece, which means we return to our original shooting order, which I believe, if I recall correctly, that means that the Mexicans will be shooting first in the next set. And that worked out well for them in the first set, so I'm sure they're happy enough to do so.
In World Cup play this season, Shanghai, it was the United States winning the gold medal at stage 1, blanking Mexico, ironically, 6-0. Then at stage 2, Medellin, Korea beat Brazil in 3 sets. Antalya, Konyaaltı Beach, stage 3, China defeated India. And now it is Russia and Mexico battling for the gold medal here at Wrocław, Poland, stage 4. Just outside Centennial Hall, beautiful setting by the fountains. A gathering spot for many, many people who live here in Wrocław, enjoying the sunshine and the water. And the archery as well. Great crowd in the stands here for this afternoon's matches.
Here we go. Let's see. What we'd ideally like is a smooth, quick, crisp shot, just to get over the jitters, put it wherever it goes. Oh, he's trembling again. He's really, really struggling to come through the clicker. He got away with it on that one. That was a good X.
Willed that into the center ring. Eduardo Velez, 28 years old, ranked 42nd in the world, competing for quite a while internationally. And Aida still,
ooh, dear me.
But her shot winds up high and to the left. It's a 7, which does not bode well for Mexico, opens the door for the Russian Federation.
The door is certainly open. It's not always as easy to walk through it as you might hope. But we will see what happens. That was a nice execution, yes. Rewarded with a 9. And that's great communication. You can see Bayer there talking to Tatiana. I presume he's talking about where he was aiming and that sort of idea to deal with the changing wind conditions. Didn't quite work well enough. That's an 8 for Tatiana, which means that we're all tied up. But great communication between those two team members right there.
Working together here in mixed team competition. Third set. Match tied at 2 apiece.
That looks like a very nice, stable shot. If he could just finish the execution a little bit more smoothly, he would be reaping better rewards.
Tough shot for Luis Eduardo Velez.
And he's left Ada not a whole lot of time. She's down to 10 seconds and she hasn't even lifted the bow. There we are. Good
Let
quick
it go with
execution
6
and a nice
seconds.
10.
Yeah.
So a pair of 10s and 7s for each of them.
Now the question is, what will the Russian Federation do?
Yeah, once again, the door is open. Can they execute? Pair of 9s, and they win this set. They take a 4 set point lead.
10 and an 8 would do it
oh
too.
Dear, that was.
Oh, he looked like he thought that shot was headed for Krakow.
Yes, he was not pleased with the release on that. He threw it back into the 9. That's a great feeling when you get to throw those into the gold. That was a nice execution and a 9. There's that pair of 9s.
There are the 2 9s.
And that's 4 set points for Russia. But yeah, when you have a day where you can have an execution like that, a big throw of the bow arm, and a whole lot of wishing, and the arrow hits the 9 ring, you know you're having a good day.
Use that body English to get that arrow back where he needed it to go. And it's a 1-point victory in that set for the Russian Federation. And they pick up the 2 set points. And after going behind or going down 2-0 after the first set, they've won the next 2 and now lead 4-2 and are 1 set away from winning the gold medal.
1 point away.
1 point, actually, yeah, just splitting.
Yep, so Mexico needs to win this next set.
Albina Laganova.
Mexico's best hope at this point is a shoot-off. That's the only way Mexico can win this event now. So they must win this set.
Force the shoot-off.
Force the shoot-off, then they must win the shoot-off.
Saw some great shoot-offs yesterday.
Well, and hopefully we'll get to see some today. I do enjoy a shoot-off.
Have yet to see one today, but we may be headed for that. It's up to Velez and Roman. They'll have to come through in the clutch, and he does.
He started out the last set that way. Now he needs to back it up. He needs Ada to shoot a great shot as well. They're using their clock wisely right now. They're not rushing, but they're not wasting time either. And she's got such a nice, smooth, quick execution. They can salvage a bunch of time, so that gives them some bonus time there. 44 seconds left on their clock in this last set. That puts some good pressure on the Russians. It'll be interesting to see how they respond.
Zibek Dorjiev, who teamed up with Ina Stepanova, but lost to Italy in the 1/8 round in Antalya. Big improvement this week as they get to the gold medal match and are vying for that gold medal and may just be a few arrows away from clinching. Segana.
Nice quick execution.
Low.
And Bayer has had a couple of his first arrow on this set as well. He threw some body English behind it as well, and you can get away with that in the short term, but eventually you have to pay the piper, so we'll see how long that goes. Good execution.
Yeah.
Nice 10.
Velez
Pulled off a 10 when he needed it.
just caught that line.
So a 9 to win this set to force the shoot-off.
Aida gathers herself at full draw.
Good execution.
Let
There's
it
the
fly,
9.
yeah.
That is 2 points for Mexico. We are going to a shoot-off.
You got your wish, you.
I love the shoot-off. It's so much fun. And in the team round, it's quite interesting as well. So this is an unbelievably great opportunity for the Russians because they have this chance to just take a shot, see where the target is, because they already know they've lost the set. So now if they're strategic about it, they're planning for the shoot-off. That's an interesting strategy if they're planning for the shoot-off.
Little experimentation going on.
So they're absolutely free to do whatever they need to, whatever they want to. Another interesting thing about Tatiana's shooting, we'll be able to see more of it. We have the shoot-off. But we also have the shoot-off coming up. When she comes into anchor, she has her style of form, the string doesn't touch her nose, which is fairly rare. And she's significantly off her nose, probably by half an inch or a centimeter. And it's fairly unusual, but she's very, very good at it. She's had a lot of great international results with that style. It's unusual, but it works.
Disadvantage in any way?
Fewer facial reference points means that it's possible that you'll be tilting your head a little bit, or the string may not be quite as straight. So you may end up with a little bit more lateral movement in the shot. It's slightly fewer reference points for your anchor, so it's just a little bit less security that your string is in exactly the same place with respect to your eyeball every shot. Because these archers shoot so many arrows, a lot of it becomes just habit and nature anyway. So the reference points are nice, not 100% necessary, obviously. Tatiana's here, she's got another match to go.
She's competing at this level, so something's working for her, obviously.
As long as you can do it consistently, it works. Lalo is a nickname. Velez is looking relaxed and ready to go.
Hanging loose. Got to be loose down there with Aida Roman. Meanwhile, Tatiana Segana talking it over with Bayer Zvektorjev. As we go to the shoot-off, clean target face is being put up 70 meters away. And our first shoot-off of the day, closest to the center, will get it done.
Score first.
Score first, and
because
then
there's two arrows.
Right.
So it's cumulative score. If one has 2 9s and one has a 10 and an 8, then it'll be tied for score. But the 10 obviously beats the 9s in close to the middle. So that's just a quick mental exercise in how you could have cumulative score the same and then you measure.
And we see that happen all the time. You'll see a score of 19 for both teams, but somebody had the arrow that was closest to the center.
Yes.
The strains of the Macarena. Mexico getting into it.
The music this week has been a little bit retro, I would say.
Rocky Bester doing a great job. Spinning those discs, playing those hits. Here for World Archery.
Pressing that button.
Yes. Everybody having a good time on a Sunday afternoon in Wroclaw, Poland. Packed grandstands.
A lot of those great JVD target umbrellas in the stands.
Right now, a lot of folks on the edge of their seats.
A lot of Mexicans for sure, and I guess
the Russians as well.
Yep, you can hear the chants of Russia in the stand for sure.
So here we go.
And this will be an interesting test. He's been shaky the whole way through. Here's pressure for you. He's executed well in his first shot of each set. Oh, pushed it into the 9. That's reasonable. You can take a 9.
So a 9 for Eduardo Velez.
And the shoot-off arrow, it's 1 arrow per team alternating. That's what's going on here. That's why Ada didn't walk up and shoot an arrow immediately.
Bayer.
Eating up a lot of time. Oh, and a 7. That puts Russia in deep trouble.
Sailed on him out into the 7 ring.
I think he held on a little bit long and then had a bit of a weak front end. That's most likely. He definitely held on longer than personally I would prefer to see. I understand that under that situation, it's hard to execute perfectly.
She just needs a 9, right?
And there's the 9.
There is the 9.
That's the game.
That
Mexico
is
wins.
it. There it is it. Mexico comes away with the victory as Aido Roman shoots the 9. You have to go through, finish off the set, or I should say the match, in the shoot-off. And Tatiana Segina will shoot an 8.
If we were to watch that again, I'm not sure I saw what I think I saw, but just at a glance, it looked like when she anchored, her mouth started to open, which dropped her string hand, which is why that arrow went high. I may not have seen that. I would like to see an instant replay of that to be able to be sure of what I saw, but that was my hunch. I saw her mouth, I thought I saw her jaw drop, and I was fairly stunned and thought this arrow was going high as soon as she let go.
So Mexico comes back after taking a 2-0 lead to start this match. They fell behind 4-2, battled back to tie it at 4-4, forced the shoot-off, and Luis Eduardo Velez, along with Aido Roman, celebrating the gold medal for Mexico.
Is that the first gold for Mexico in the mixed team?
I believe it would have been for Russia, but I believe Mexico has won mixed team gold medals before in the past.
All right. Because I've seen Ada up on this stage trying for those gold medals a few times and coming away with the silver, so it's good to see her come away with the